So that was a really long gospel reading, typically for us. Usually weekday readings are a little bit smaller and a little bit more focused. Jesus has put a lot of things in there for us to consider, especially on this feast of St. Wendelin. And you notice we brought our St. Wendelin statue in from out there so that we're very much mindful of St. Wendelin. And remember, in his day and time, St. Wendelin was probably a lot like what St. Francis of Assisi was later on. And he was a person who I want to have us think about two qualities today. There are a lot of qualities we can think about, but two qualities. And they tie back to the young man in the gospel, too. The first is humility. Humility, being humble. And the second is simplicity of life. Okay? Simplicity of life. Keeping life simple. Does that make sense to you? And both qualities are qualities that St. Wendelin had. His humbleness of heart is one that allowed him to take and put away everything, realizing that the only thing that he needed to do was rely on God. And humbleness of heart, at its core, is best expressed as we put aside everything and put our hands and our lives in the hands of God. So true humbleness brings us before God in that way, realizing that we are nothing without God. And the good news is we hear in the gospel that with God all things are possible. So that's the blessing that comes from humbleness of life. Are we humble enough to put ourselves in the hands of God? Now, I don't know about you, but our world is filled with people who want to try to control things, right? We want you to control your car, for example. That's good, right? But we know that there are other ways that people try to control things and make their will what everybody else should think. Humbleness of heart says, no, I have to be humble and place myself in the hands of God. Now imagine if you are St. Wendelin, you're doing this in a day and time where they don't have electricity, they don't have McDonald's, they don't have, Bob Evans or whatever else restaurant we like, right? He's living his life kind of, I don't know if you ever see it on TV, but, like these people that are out in the middle of the woods and they try to live off the grid, right? I mean, this is what he did because he was a shepherd. He was always out, and he needed to trust God. He needed to trust God to provide for him the very things that would sustain him. So we got to do the same thing. We got to do the same thing. We got to trust God and be humble enough, again, to put our hands into the hands of God and allow His will to prevail in our lives. Okay, so humility, good. Simplicity of life. Now, back when I was ordained a priest, we had a wonderful bishop here, not Bishop Thomas, not Bishop Blair, who some may remember, but Bishop Hoffman. And Bishop Hoffman was a really special guy because he was made our bishop right from the priests of the diocese. So he was a priest of our diocese, and the Pope made him bishop. And in fact, he grew up right over in Fremont. His dad was a shoe Bishop Hoffman was a man who lived this sense of simplicity of life. He never fell into the trappings of what the bishop stuff is. He always carried rather than a gold crosier, he always carried a wooden one. And he made it a real part of his life to witness to simplicity of life. And in fact, he drove around an old Chevrolet that somebody left him. Didn't even have a new car. He was a great example for me of simplicity of life. And we can choose the simpler ways of life, and we will be far more rewarded in many ways if we do. Bishop Hoffman always, the one thing that he always had nice, though, was wear his shoes. And you can imagine why. That's what was the dad talking, right? Well, if we go back to simplicity of life, for St. Wendelin, it was just a necessity. Like I said, they didn't have the things that we have today. But you think about the world that we live in today, and we think about maybe Bishop Hoffman's example, and we realize that simplicity of life has to be a choice for us. It's not something like St. Wendelin who had to live it because that's the way it was. No. We're more thinking about embracing simplicity of life like Bishop Hoffman did. Rather than having a brand new fancy car, try that used one that somebody gave you. Rather than having all the pretty gold or whatever, keep it simple. Have a wooden crosier. And he worked, he chose to work in his simplicity of life to be one with the poor as well. And that's the beauty of the simplicity of life. It leads us into places where we don't know who we will serve. Now, we hear in the gospel that here's this rich young man who wants to follow Jesus. Well, actually, he's saying, what do I need to do to get to heaven? That's a good question, isn't it? What do I need to do to get to heaven? So, he comes up and he asks Jesus, what do I need to get to heaven to inherit the kingdom? And Jesus says, well, you know the commands, live on them. Well, people of simplicity of life live the 10 Commandments. And then he said, well, I've done all those things. And Jesus says, well, he said first, or at least the scriptures say that Jesus loved him. He loved him. And because this person was living the commandments, he was trying to build a relationship with God. And then he says the next thing, you've got one thing more to do. Sell everything you have and give to the poor. And then follow me. Now you would think that he would be jumping for joy that he got an invitation from Jesus to follow him. I mean, imagine this guy could have been one of the 12 apostles. Maybe his name was Tyler or something like that. Wouldn't that be funny? We'd have a Saint Tyler. But we don't even know his name. But he went away sad. He was offered the greatest gift, simplicity of life with the Lord, and he went away sad. Because he had many possessions. And Jesus just wants to say, listen, Simplicity of life is where you will find God's blessing. Now, I want to challenge you. How can you make your life simpler? You know, in today's language, we would say we don't need to accessorize, right? Simplicity of life means keep it simple. How many things do you have that you feel are more important than God? How many things do you own that you treasure more than the treasure that God gives you in through the church and in through your faith? It's a challenging question for us. So I want us to think about these two characteristics or two attributes of St. Wendelin. And maybe we can begin to think about it in our own lives. How are we going to be more humble so as to be able to welcome Jesus into our lives? Not my will be done, but God's will be done. And how can we live simplicity of life? Making sure that our possessions don't possess us, but rather that we store up a true treasure that will lead us